Hello, everyone, and welcome live to 3Y TV, tonight's broadcast of the Lexi Jackson 135 at Kentucky Speedway for the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Xfinity Series here in the National Sim Racing Association. I am Peter Short, and alongside me is Andre Grandbush for 200 miles, 135 laps around this mile-and-a-half racetrack. And Andre, it's flat here. We're in the Bluegrass State. We're not going 240 miles an hour like we were last week, but I think that's going to be good. I think these boys are going to put on some good racing here tonight.
Yeah, this is a pretty unique track. I always thought it was a bit of a shame that NASCAR got away from it. It's kind of reminiscent of the old intermediate tracks. Most of them got a lot of banking these days, but this was one of the last holdouts to be relatively flat, at least at one end of the track. So definitely a different type of racing. And as you can see by the scoring pylon, it looks like some drivers have gotten accustomed to it pretty well. 30.8 for an Xfinity car is pretty quick by Adams at the top of the board, and not far behind him, Adam Newton in the 4, 30.87. And Step, who was doing pretty well last week at one point there, 30.91. So everybody pretty close and getting used to it. But you can see you get a little bit too low in the corner, you're going to be fishtailing it.
Yeah, this racetrack is, pretty flat. You carry a lot of speed off into the corner. They did reconfigure this racetrack a couple of years back, Andre, to give it a little bit more banking. It was even flatter than it is now, but it's still one of the more tricky racetracks here on the schedule, as you see Adam Newton second of all on the scoring pylon currently head down on pit road. And pretty tricky pit road to get onto because you're carrying all that speed. The racetrack, for how flat it is, Andre, is pretty grippy because the racing surface is relatively new. You see it's kind of got a darker shade of gray than what you're used to at older tracks, at least like old Atlanta. I can't say the same for new Atlanta, but right now out there on the racetrack, this driver, Mitchell Adams, is top of the charts. Recently went to college and now out there on the racetrack trying to get some lap time and have some fun before the college semester gets fully into swing, and former series champion here in the National Sim Racing Association.
Yeah, definitely showing that champion speed with still holding on to number one in practice so far. And yeah, if you're going to go into the semester and not be able to run the sim as much, you might as well try to go out on top. And if he keeps that pace up, he may be able to. A little bit of smoke we see from some drivers having some issues in practice, just testing the limits. You can see this is a very wide track in the corner, so potential for multi-groove. Just kind of depends how it wears in and what exactly happens with the track temp and things like that. But crossing the line there, you can see they're going to be taking that transition in the very not uniform line for the apron. It kind of jets out there at one point. So most of these guys are going to prefer to take the apron right up till corner entry where they arc out and then back in. But just a completely different beast compared to most intermediates. And you can see a few of these guys really toying with the high side there. Peter, the 00 was running about the middle group. The car behind him couldn't quite make out the number. The white machine was just up against that wall, and it actually seemed to work pretty well.
Yeah, I believe that is Thad Miller there in the number 81. We had Thad's dad in the chat last week. Hopefully we see him back in the chat here tonight on 3Y TV. Thanks for joining us. If you're just now tuning in, we are about to move over into the qualifying session here on the channel. And I'll tell you what, Andre, the field is pretty close here tonight. I'm expecting some good action for the Lexi Jackson 135. And let's talk about tonight's race sponsor before we get into the depths of qualifying. There is a link in the description of the video. In fact, I'm going to try and grab that link and try and post it in the chat as well. Lexi Jackson is in need of a service dog, and there's a fundraiser going on put together by Aaron and Jamie Jo Jackson, and they're currently at $770. So if you would like to donate here tonight for a good cause, please, by all means, let's try and donate to a good cause and get someone the service dog. They're not cheap, but they serve a very important purpose in a lot of people's lives, Andre.
Yeah, that they do. You absolutely cannot discount the life-changing effect that a service dog can have for somebody like Lexi. So hopefully we can do a good thing here, maybe raise a few bucks, and every little bit counts, of course, if you're able to give. But in the meantime, qualifying has rolled out, and the 83, Adams, not wasting a single second. He pretty much shot out on track as soon as that green flag waved. getting a little bit sideways out of the corner. You can tell he's trying to heat those tires up and post a time here. I believe this will be his first timed lap with a 30.9, so only a little bit off what he ran in practice. There's a few more drivers are going to post times in his wake. 31.1 for Valvano, Newton with a 31.1 as well. Paul Bilson getting a 31.5, but let's see if Adams can improve with his second lap. The extra heat should do something. We'll see if we can get down into the 8s where he was in practice. Again, sliding high on exit, the rear end just stepping out on him, but that's exactly the way he wants it. Across the stripe, does he improve? Looks like he's not gonna. It's gonna be a 30.92, and we'll see if anybody can compete. Newton with a 31 flat.
Yeah, good though to back up his practice lap time earlier in the night. Currently fastest of all, Adam Newton, second fastest in practice, also second fastest here in qualifying. So our top two lockstep where they were just a little while ago. Here's Tom Lester, the number 48. He needs to pick it up on lap number 2. He gains a couple of positions, moves from 7th up into the top 5. He will, looks like, wind down his lap. Here's Thad Miller, one of the only Toyotas in the field. We got 3 Toyotas, Mike Floppy Tellier, Thad Miller, and the other one being Brent McKee. So a couple of Toyotas, a handful of Chevrolets, and another handful of Fords in the field here tonight. Looks like 14 cars will be making up the starting lineup unless we get some late entries. Here comes Thad working his way out of turn number 4. In fact, let's see if we can go on board with that number 81 machine as he heads to the line right there. Lap number 1 puts him 8th on the board. And Andre, it definitely seems like lap number 2 is going to be your money lap, but you got to hit it absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, it's really a one-shot type deal. You get the first lap, but there's just not going to be enough heat in the tires to really use the car to its maximum capability. So when you get down to it, and you're going to want to post that second hot lap there and make a mistake, then you're not going to qualify too well. So you can see the fancy new technology swiveling the camera around as he comes to the stripe. Is he going to improve from that lap time? He will improve a little bit. Looks like he is going to move up to, well, no, actually he's still 31.6, it looks like.
Yeah, so only good enough for 10th on the board. That will be a little bit disappointed. Here is Brent McKee, the number 29 machine. Red Bull Toyota. Not been a great showing for Toyota so far here in qualifying. Mike Tellier, the only one inside the top 5. But McKee working his way down the backstretch right here on his first time lap. Currently out there, not exactly tracking the best lap time here off of turn number 4. Here he comes to the stripe. We'll see where this puts him on the scoring pylon. 11 drivers so far have taken time. Make that 12 as McKee slots into 11th, right in front of William Ratcliffe, and slots himself right between Thad Miller, who we were just on board with. Joshua Corner still out there on the racetrack, just plopped himself into the 8th position on the board, but he's got his 2 fast laps in. He won't be able to improve on the outside of row number 4. Still missing TJ Elaine and Garrett Gleason. We'll see if the number 1 and the number 7 work their way out there onto the racing surface momentarily. But want to thank everyone for tuning in. Haven't seen a whole lot of people in the chat as McKee gets lap number 2 in, but Andre 11th again for lap number 2.
Yep, not quite going to improve. 31.99, so that's about a second off of pole, which is still 30.9 seconds for Adams. And I think that should just about conclude qualifying unless the other 2 drivers decide to come out, but they may be opting just to try and start towards the rear. Not a very big field, so if you start in the back, maybe put yourself in a safer situation and still don't have a whole lot of cars you got to drive through. But in the meantime, Adams looking pretty good with that pole, and with the time difference from the top of the pylon to the bottom, I gotta wonder if the track got a little bit warmer throughout that qualifying session, slowed down a little bit. You can see right now it's 82 in the air, and on track it's going to be even warmer than that, 91 degrees on the track surface. So I think it might have been a little bit cooler at the start of that session, but we'll have to wait and see. 57 humidity, not exactly sure what that does as far as iRacing's physics engine is concerned, but it's data we have.
Yeah, it's there. I think really the only thing that it does, Andre, is when you get around 100% humidity, you start to actually see fog in the surface. But yeah, I think I saw a race recently in one of the other leagues that we broadcast here on the channel where they actually purposefully did a fog race because they were up in the northeast portion of the USA where they've been having all those forest fires. So they just like cranked the humidity all the way up and had a race in the fire, and they called it like the Fire 100 or something like that. I can't remember. It was pretty funny. But nonetheless, the notes here tonight. This is the first of 4.5 mile speedway races this season. Of course, the final one coming at Homestead, Miami, to round out the season. I think Kansas also in the playoffs, and I think I'm trying to think what the other one was on the schedule. But there's 4 of them, and this is the first one. Of course, last week the 3 mile iRacing Super Speedway, a lot different here tonight. We got about 2 minutes left here in qualifying. Let's see if we can possibly get a quick word with the fastest driver in town right now, that being Mitchell Adams. We'll see if we can get him down here into 3Y TV booth. Here we go. Andre, why don't you take it away with Mitchell Adams?
Mr. Adams, you're sitting on the pole and you were quickest in practice. It looks like that 83 machine's feeling pretty good for you. Is Kentucky a track you've been looking forward to?
Kentucky's my home track, so I always look forward to running here. I wasn't quite sure I was going to get to, and I just kind of decided, oh, I might as well come race tonight. So didn't expect to be as fast as I seemed to be. Had a lot of good speed here in the Stay Tuned Sports machine, so I'm looking forward to it. Kentucky is a very tough track, and being fast and qualifying is one thing, but we got to save some tires here if we're going to keep this 83 up front.
Yeah, I think tire saving is going to be pretty big. We were watching you practice and we saw your pole lap there. And on both those laps, coming out of 4, I mean, you were full pin, sliding the tires, just wheeling that thing. But of course, you can only get away with that so much before the tires start screaming at you. What is going to be the strategy in terms of conservation?
You got to drive a lot smoother than you do in qualifying. You can really abuse those tires in the short 2 laps you get for qualifying, but when we're running 35 or 40 laps on a fuel tank, you got to be really mindful of how much you use those tires. And like you said, I can't be sliding it out of turn 4 like I really want to be here.
Absolutely. So you're going to have to take it a little bit easier, try to save a little bit of tire. It's a long race, 200 miles, and a pretty small field as well. So that kind of comes into play when it comes to choosing your strategy. But either way, Mitchell, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
I appreciate it.
All right, well, we'll let Mitchell get back to the group that he's kind of hanging out with here tonight. And Andre, a good lap time for that number 83, but like he says, he's going to have to keep the tires on it if he wants to win this race here tonight. We've highlighted that you carry a lot of speed into the corner, but that usually means that right front is screaming for dear life.
Oh, yeah, right front, and especially if you're sliding out of the corner like he was, you're going to be killing that right rear, so that's going to make the car wear loose, and these guys were getting loose enough as it is, so going to have to take it a little bit easy. Probably going to see lap times far slower than what we saw in qualifying just for the sake of conservation, because if we had a full field, you might think, yeah, we're going to get a lot of cautions. It's a pretty chaotic track, and there's going to be plenty of opportunities to pit for tires and things like that. But 13 cars on the grid, 12 posted qualifying times. Yellow flags should, I hope, come at a premium. So we're looking at the potential for some long green flag runs, which means you got no choice. You got to play the conservation game, and it sounds like Mitchell's ready to do it, and hopefully the other drivers are too.
Yeah, hopefully we get everyone out there, but it is time to go down to pit road. We got cars lining up out there on the racetrack to get rolling here in just a moment, and I don't know what is up with tonight's starting lineup. It seems kind of wonky. Let's see if we can... this is actually very strange the way this is all set up. Interestingly enough, Andre, for some reason, I'm showing people in different results classes. I don't know what that is about. Hopefully that doesn't play with the live timing and scoring here tonight. Let me do some fiddling with some of the settings, and
In the meantime, I do have the starting grid from. Oh,
yeah. I think maybe I had just clicked the wrong. I'm not sure, to be perfectly honest with you. But why didn't you take it away?
all right. I just went back and rewound the broadcast to see what it was when they quit qualifying. But Mitchell Adams on pole with a 30.9. Adam Newton just barely missing the mark. He is 0.08 of a second off the pole in second. Nathan Estep in the 55 is 0.1 seconds back in third. Mike Tellier, regular to the league. The Canadian's going to roll off fourth. Vinny Valvano, funnest name to say in the league, is going to roll off fifth in that number 9 machine. And Justin White, league admin, going to be P6. Tom Lester, P7. Joshua Corner is going to be 8th. Running out the top 10 is going to be Paul Bilson and Thad Miller.
In 11th position, Brent McKee and William Ratcliffe will be alongside him. And then a little bit further back on row number 7, TJ Elaine and Garrett Gleason, rounding out our 14-car field for the 135 laps that we have in store for us here tonight. I'm Peter Short, and alongside me, as I mentioned earlier, is Andre Graham Bush. We'll be bringing you live flag-to-flag coverage here tonight on 3 Wide TV for the Lexi Jackson 135. If you're in the chat, there is a link to the GoFundMe to get Lexi Jackson a service dog. Joshua Corner popped into the chat briefly before the drop of the green flag. Same thing with Adam Dama. To Adam, hello. Hopefully you are doing A-OK. Green flag in the flagman's hand, and just like that, a little bit of wheel spin out of our pole sitter, but we're racing here at Kentucky.
Yeah, that wheel spin honestly didn't hold him back that much. He's going to get clear into the lead before we get to turn 1. Side by side for second, as Step and Newton are going to battle for that position. Looks like the low line will prevail. E-Step moving up 1 on the pylons. That's going to put him in second. And these 3 cars starting to break away already. But the number 4, Adam Newton, not one to give up. He's going to drive it in deep. A little bit further back in the field. Here's some more 2 wide action. You got that 48 machine of Lester all the way down to the bottom, trying to take a position away from the 49 machine, which I believe actually may be the incorrect. No, sorry, 64. I may be a little bit dyslexic, apparently. The 64 machine is going to be on the high side. Now the bottom, it's a bit of a crossover. It's going to be a drag race down the back straightaway into 3, the flatter of the corners. Bottom may not be the best place to be as we do a little bit of a 360. Sorry to any viewers that may be motion sick at home. We are playing with the new rotation we got. The 48 down to the bottom now as the 49 throws his hat in the ring. These guys are not letting up.
No, they are fighting here early on, and Tom Lester in that number 48 is starting to drop back a little bit to his outside. That is TJ Elaine, I believe. Number 1 on the scoring pylon. I think number 49 on the side of that race car, but he's going to be able to get in front of this number 48. So not a good race start so far for Tom Lester. Maybe saving his tires. We'll see whether or not that is true and pans out as the run goes on, as Joshua Corner now starts to look at the battle in front of him. Still the number 48, Tom Lester, falling to the back of the pack. You're not missing anything all too much up at the front. Here we go with Mike Floppy Tellier, who had a shot at the win last week at iRacing Super Speedway, ended up coming home in second. There was a little bit of controversy and questions, but the final standings did stay as they were, as we interviewed everyone at iRacing Super Speedway. So that was definitely a little bit interesting, Andre, but Adam Newton coming home with the win last week over Mike in a last lap battle, going 235 miles an hour. A little bit of contact on the last lap. It was definitely crazy. But the good news is for all the cautions we had last week at iRacing Super Speedway, here tonight, so far, clean and green in the opening 5 laps.
Green in more ways than one. Still got them painted green, safer barriers. But, that is something to keep in mind. The finish of last week between Newton and Tellier, I don't think either of those drivers has particularly forgotten what happened. And I know that Tellier in his interview was a little bit heated, which, you don't often hear out of Mike. He's a pretty level-headed guy. So I don't know if he's got that in the back of his mind and he's thinking about it as he is following that number 4. But if they do find each other on track, I would not be surprised if we saw some sparks fly somewhere or another. But right now, a little bit of separation between everybody. Adams and A-Step, about a second between them now, and kind of got me wondering, Peter. Adams was talking about saving and how important that's going to be, and yet he's walked out to a 1 second lead. If he's that fast while saving, that is bad news for the rest of the field.
Yeah, currently Adams clocking in the fastest lap times out there on the racetrack. We're on board with Nathan Eastep in second, Adam Newton out back. That number 4 Mustang fast there in practice. Now, I still don't know, folks, what's up with the live timing and scoring there on the left-hand side of the screen. Some of the gaps seem not quite right, and I really don't know how or if it's due to the way things are set up. For some reason, I'm showing a couple of people in different classes and different groups, and I think Adam Newton and Mike Tellier are in their own group, and then Brent McKee's in a different group, and I'm not sure if that's just the way the server was set up or what, but our live timing and scoring is not having anything of it here today. But I will say that top to bottom, the live time, the chart is correct, at least top to bottom in terms of everyone's position. I'm kind of working on my end to see if maybe there's a way I can fix that. But out there on the racetrack, E-Step and the number 4 of Adam Newton duking it out side by side for second. And now look at Justin White. Didn't really have a lot of practice laps in the number 2 machine, but Justin White is looking pretty racy here.
Yeah, he might have done a good job saving on the initial laps of this race, because he's kind of coming to life. Looks like he's going to make a move on Tellier. That's going to put him in line behind the 55, and we'll see if he can maybe try to get around a step. But no doubt, a lot of speed in that 28 machine. 28 on the car, 2 on the pylon. We'll have to sort that out at some point, but either way, he's got a lot of pace right now. That 55 jumped up to second really early, but it seems like the long run pace starting to forsake him. And in the meantime, Adams, he doesn't care what's going on back here. He's so far up there, he can barely see him in the mirror, but these guys battling for second, battling for an opportunity to get up there and try to run him down. So we've got a long ways to go before any potential pit stops. It's all going to be about consistency. It's going to be about that long run pace. And if you're wearing your car out trying to battle side by side or overtake somebody, then that long run speed is going to be harder to have. But look at this, Peter. I mean, Justin White just closed in about a car length in that corner alone. We'll see what he can do through 3 and 4.
And of course, we do have stages here tonight at this racetrack. Those stages are, I believe, coming out on lap number 35, if I recall correctly, if my notes are right as well. So I think we'll have about another 23 laps of green flag action before we give out a couple of points to the drivers inside the top 8. Currently, Mitchell Adams, then Adam Newton, E-Step, White, and Tellier are top 5. Then TJ Elaine, who's been slowly but surely making his way up towards the front of the field. I mean, I say slowly. We're 13 laps in, and he's picked up 7 spots, Andre. So a good start for TJ Elaine right here as he heads off towards turn number 1.
Yeah, definitely a great start, and only 3 seconds back from the leader, which usually if you got to work your way up through the field, you lose a little bit more time than that. So it shows that he's got pace, not just on his own, but through traffic as well. Now he's got a bit of a gap to the car ahead. He's going to have to focus on trying to just run that consistent line, reel in the car ahead, and then get back into it. But in the meantime, just got to focus on that consistency. Looking at the pylon, though, a lot of separation so far, although Bilson and Corner, I'm not sure how that scoring and timing is. It is a little off. It was showing Corner closer to the leader, but also behind. I don't know. Justin White is going to take 3rd place, but maybe not for long. Contact, big contact, the 28 up into the green safety barrier. No, he's going to keep it off the wall, but I'll tell you what, he is not going to be happy about that. 55. He worked him over clean. He tried to take that position, and as soon as Justin White took it, that 55 dove it in the very next corner. Very shallow entry. I don't think there was any chance he was going to be able to maintain that momentum. Looking back from the car ahead, you can see just shallow entry, ton of speed going in, no net code or anything. I mean, it was just straight up contact. unfortunate to see there for Justin White.
Yeah, let's get one more look of this. Let's see if I can actually play with the camera on the replay. Hey, look, I can play with the camera on the replay. This will be an interesting look. You bring up alongside him, boom,
And
just like that, pushes him up the racetrack, and away you go. So definitely not what you want to have happen if you're Justin White. But currently, for right now, we got action out there on the racetrack. We'll jump back. Well, I think we're live. There we go. Now we're live, folks. As looks like currently that number 28 machine is up there, still in fourth. So lost some ground, Andre. Plenty of time to gain it back.
Oh yeah, very early on in the race, we still got a stage caution to look forward to bunch everybody up. But I am curious if that did any damage to Justin White's car, because the violent reaction his car had to that contact, it was almost like his step kind of crawled up onto the hood of his car. It was a very violent reaction. I would not be surprised if there's something bent in the steering rack or some sort of mechanical damage. And especially when you look at the car behind him, Mike Tellier's catching back up. And I mean, before, Justin White was far and away faster than Tellier. Now that pace is gone. So maybe going to have to think about coming down pit road whenever that stage caution does come out, get some of that damage beat out, try to get that pace back in line. You can see Justin White just ahead of Tellier there. Got a little bit loose out of the corner as well. Tellier going to hold that bottom groove, slide up, which seems to be the line on exit. And it's going to be a battle for position here, I think, is up for the lead. Look at this. Speaking of battles, Adam Newton has reeled in from 1.5 seconds back Mitchell Adams, and they're going to go side by side through turn one. Can the four maintain that low line? He's going to lift. He's going to play it respectful, gives him the lane, but it's going to be a drag race down the back straightaway. Preferred line going to that number four. See if he can make good use of that preferred line. Gets just a slight advantage now coming out of the corner. I'd expect Adams to get the advantage. He's got more speed carried, taking the higher lane. Who's going to lead it at the line? It is going to be Adams, just barely. Now, again, into the corner. Adams having to play some defense here. And a great run into the corner. That's going to get him clear. Now, can Adam Newton fight back? Not quite. That PPG machine is going to slot back into second. And we do have caution number one on the night. And I believe that is going to be the stage. But man, oh man, what a battle that was. I can't believe Newton even if he came up short, it's impressive that he reeled him in.
Yeah, that must have been the stage caution. Not seeing anything come up on my end of anyone having any problems out there. So I think that is indeed the stage caution. Not sure if something might have happened to Tom Lester, but Lester appeared to be off the pace. I'm not sure if maybe was saving some tires or fuel, but definitely coming in as a surprise to me. I did go back and check the league notes, and I had that the stage caution was going to come out at the end of 35. So not sure if maybe they called an audible in the drivers meeting. They do that. They do have a drivers meeting here in the National Sim Racing Association Stay Tuned Sports podcast series, and I'm sure that everyone who received points will be thankful that they got some points here, as looks like Mitchell Adams will lead the field down on to pit road. And I've done everything on my end, I think, to kind of change up into kind of the different classes. But yeah, I kind of have to see. One of the classes is called Fast Lane Racing. So I'm not sure if maybe they imported the settings from another league or something like that, or I'm not sure. Or maybe they're doing, I have not seen any kind of discussions on maybe if they are going to break up people into different classes, but
47, Mike Tellier just missed his box, had to throw it in reverse. And if there had been hit boxes in the pit stalls, he would have actually made contact with the 55. But luckily, thanks to iRacing's advanced technology, there is no hit boxes, so he was able to avoid any potential damage. But look at all that time lost. All these drivers that he was ahead of on track going to beat him out of pit road. So unfortunate. But again, only lap 23 out of 135. Plenty of time. And I'll tell you what, if I can get your permission for this, Peter, while we're under caution and now that they're done pitting, I want to have a word with Adam Newton, the guy who almost got the stage. Can we do that?
Yeah, let's see if we can get Adam Newton up here into the 3 wide TV booth. Assuming I can find Adam Newton. I
I got
cannot.
him. Here we go.
Okay, there we go. Perfect.
Mr. Newton, you got a copy?
Yes.
Well, Adam, that was an impressive charge. We didn't think anybody was going to be reeling in the leader from about 1.5 seconds back, and you got up there and you made an attempt at it, nearly got the stage win, just missed out by a few thousandths of a second. How's that car feeling?
It's a little on the tight side in traffic, but otherwise it's pretty good. It's manageable. Hopefully we'll have a good, decent long run.
Definitely seems like you got that long run speed. Like I said, reeling in the leader was something we kind of thought nobody was going to be able to do, but there you were. The story of the night from everybody we've talked to has been tire wear, talking about how much this track is eating at the tires. Is that kind of holding true in your case, or the tires starting to kind of fade on these longer runs?
Absolutely. Tire wear is huge right now. It's going, once the rest of the gas goes down on this longer run, I think you're going to see a lot of guys fall back quick.
Could definitely be the case. Well, all right, Adam, we're going to put you back with your team. You're going to be going back racing right quick here, and hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So he says he hopes he's got long run speed, but I don't know, Peter, if that first stage is anything to go off of, he's got some of the best long run speed in the field.
Yeah, it definitely a lot of good long run pace, and maybe Mitchell Adams was kind of pacing to try and win that stage. Maybe going to play things a little bit differently, especially with the fact that he saw that this driver had so much pace right there at the end of the run. Had it have gone probably another lap or two, it would have been very different. But meanwhile, out there on the racetrack, we are about to go back to green flag racing, and look who our race leader is. That's Nathan Eastep in the number 55 machine, who will be pacing us for this restart. Green flag in the flagman's hand, and we are... Took a while, but they were finally going racing once again here at Kentucky Speedway.
And Tom Lester, I don't know if that was intentional or wheel spin, but he shot out to the high line, made it 3 wide momentarily. And now for second place, Adam Newton going to try to get around Mitchell Adams on that low line. Now this is going to be a new thing for Mitchell. He's not been in dirty air this entire race, so let's see what he can do. Being a little bit further back in the grid, he's going to fight back against Adam Newton. Looks like he should take this position with ease. He does. He gets up into second place, and now only one more car to track down. It's going to be Estep. No, Estep is falling back. So to the lead, it was a 2-for-1 move. And now they're going to go 3 wide, ping-ponging back and forth at 55 everywhere. But he's going to get it back under control going into the corner. And they should sort it out as that 49 machine that's actually the one of Elaine is going to try to come out of the corner, get a good run, get up into second if he can, down into turn 3. Let's see if he can actually carry that momentum. Timing and scoring says no. Adam Newton pulls out just a little bit. And out front, the same sight we saw in stage 1. Mitchell Adams starting to pull away, but you got to keep an eye on Elaine. You pointed out how he had driven through so much traffic in stage 1, and now here we are. He's up on the podium. That car's pretty quick.
Yeah, that car is definitely quick, and currently slid back to third, but plus 10 positions since the drop of the green. I mean, that's extremely impressive to be able to slice your way through the field. But I'm looking at the live kind of plus or minus chart on my end, Andre. Mitchell Adams started this race in first. Adam Newton started this race in second. Tellier started the race in fourth. Valvano in fifth. White in sixth. In and amongst them is TJ Elaine, and TJ has gained a whopping 10. So really our only mover inside the top 6. Our biggest loser under this run so far has been Nathan Eastep. Andre, I just have to think maybe saving tires on this run in the number 55. Just dropping back pretty quickly. We'll have to see whether or not he makes a late charge before the round of pit stops. We do have 75% fuel, which means we think these drivers could probably make it to lap number 40 or so. At least that's what I would think, but we'll see whether or not that is true. Hopefully we get some good green flag running. If you're just now tuning in, only one caution here tonight. Stay tuned Sports in the chat saying, what's up, guys? Not feeling well. Thought I would push through, but just couldn't. Well, Jimbo, hopefully you're feeling better next week there, buddy. Tough break, and I know you'll be excited to go to Worldwide Technology Park, Gateway, whatever you want to call it, next week. But we got more Stay Tuned Sports podcast series action here on the channel next week as we see this battle breaking out. Brent McKee and Tom Lester side by side. The Red Bull Toyota of McKee on the inside, Lester on the outside. Like I said, it looks like number 29 is going to be able to work his way out front with that preferred groove. So for right now, move Brent McKee up into 8th, Lester back to 9th, and E-Step rounding out our top 10. But not a lot going on up at the front of the field. You do have this battle between Adam Newton and TJ Elaine still kind of lockstep here as we work lap number 31.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused by E-Step right now. You said that maybe he's saving, but the way he fell back on that initial start, nobody wants to let off the throttle and put themselves in a 3-wide in the middle situation. Not a very comfortable place to be. I mean, if he was intentionally doing that to save and fall through the field, taking a pretty big risk, it kind of, to me, looked like the handling just wasn't there. I don't know if he accumulated some sort of damage, or maybe he really is just trying to save, but I guess time will tell on that. But here we go. Elaine going to do a little bit of side drafting to Adam Newton, and he is going to try to make this move. The leader driving off into the sunset in front of his windshield there. 1 second now for Mitchell Adams, but the battle for second place down onto the apron, trying to use every inch of the track. Going to come back up, take a bit of a wide entry. The bottom lane in 1 and 2 has been pretty good, so he should be able to pull up alongside and make another run at it here. He's got to use that side draft. He's got to get aggressive with it. In 3 and 4, the high line actually is a little bit better in contact. Adam Newton goes around. That's going to put them both in the wall. Caution number 2 of the night. Synchronized spinning. Take a look at our 3-wide TV multicam here. Elaine getting aggressive with it here. Just, I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, I think that's one where we're going to have to dial up the 3-wide TV blimp, Cam, because that, there's definite contact right there on entry into the corner. Oh, that's not the blimp cam. There we go. There's the blimp cam. And it looked like just the number 4 kind of came down, and Elaine had a good run, and they kind of just ended up in the same spot. All right, let's see if we can dial that one up one more time. And maybe we can put it in 3-wide TV slow-mo camera. Here we go. I mean, currently the number 4 is clear, but he starts coming down the racetrack, and I'm guessing probably lifting off the throttle, and I'm sure Elaine didn't mean to do that intentionally, but there was contact between the two. Nonetheless, Andre, an incredible job by both of these drivers to not make contact with the outside wall. And they were able to just kind of minimize the amount of damage. Let's get one more look at this from, I was hoping to go on board. Let's see if we'll get the blimp cam dialed up one more time. Let's see if we can get now kind of a look from onboard GJ Elaine. Oh, there we go. Let's turn that camera around. As there's that contact, and whoop, whoop, bye-bye. See you later.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I don't think he was expecting the 4 to come down, but at the same time, there is a corner there. You kind of have to expect he's going to angle it in, and also it didn't really look like Elaine slowed down that much after that initial contact. It looked like he kind of kept his foot in it rather than letting off and trying to avoid further contacts. I don't know. There might have been something to that, or maybe it was just kind of a freak incident there. But end result's going to be the same. It doesn't really matter. Both those drivers going to wind up going towards the back. Elaine is currently in the pits, and Adam Newton stayed on track, at least for the time being, tail end of the field. So, man, oh man, that was definitely a thing.
Yeah, I kind of just have to credit that one down to hard racing, I think, on my end. 2 drivers trying to end up at the same spot out there on the racing surface. And maybe the number 4 backed off and started to work his way towards the apex. He was clear there momentarily. TJ Elaine might not have just been able to kind of read that situation a little bit. It's hard to do when you're racing out there at 170 miles an hour at the Kentucky Speedway. But unfortunately for TJ Elaine and the Esports Gaming Network machine, off the racetrack as of right now after such a strong start. Sure, going to be bummed. I know that last week, I think he was watching the SRX race, if I recall correctly. So not in last week's event, but hopefully we'll see more of TJ Elaine going forward, as I do not see the number 1 machine working his way back up onto the racing surface just yet, so that might be night done. They're out there on the racetrack right now. iRacing pace car lights have turned off, so we will go back to green flag racing here momentarily. It has been Mitchell Adams who is dominating so far here tonight. Pretty much led every lap. I think there was a couple of laps he did not lead. But the Stay Tuned Sports number 83 is looking mighty quick out there. Want to give a shout out if you're just now joining us. There is a link in the chat and also the description of the video to the Lexi Jackson Service Dog Fund. Tonight's race is the Lexi Jackson 135, and Lexi Jackson in need of a service dog. They are expensive, folks, but they are a life changer, and Lexi Jackson is in need of one. So if you are willing, please donate to a good cause. A lot of wheel spin on the restart as the green flag waves again. Mitchell Adams getting us rolling, but that field really stacked up on the inside line. Andre, that is something we're going to have to keep our eyes on here tonight. Well, maybe Andre has stepped away for a moment as we almost had 3 or 4 wide, a little bit further back in the pack. Sometimes I get a little ping here, and I don't see a message. But yeah, Andre will be back here momentarily. There's the number 64 machine, Vincent Valvano, around the outside. I think number 9 on the scoring pylon, but number 64 on the side of the Talking Giants Ford Mustang. And in front of them, we're thinking about 3 wide momentarily. Nope, they get back into at least 2 by 2 as the number 48 machine, Tom Lester, around the outside there of Joshua Corner. Haven't really mentioned Corner's name a whole lot, but that Ford Mustang has been putting together a solid but quiet night. As Thad Miller now looking underneath. That's Nathan Estep. We were thinking that maybe Estep would have kind of the pace on the long run, but maybe saving tire. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see as we move through this run. They didn't come down pit road. Everyone really just made one pit stop here tonight. Mike Tellier, actually, take that back. Tellier pitted under this last caution. It looks like Tellier just took fuel only, which is interesting. Not only did he take fuel only, but Andre, we did hear how these drivers mentioned that as the fuel burns, kind of the handling changes. I wonder if Tellier kind of came down pit road to take on fuel just as somewhat of a handling adjustment.
You know, that could be the case. I know that Adam Newton there had mentioned in his interview that the fuel burning was actually going to affect the handling, so at least I think that's what he was applying. So that could be the case. I mean, Tellier is showing some really good speed right now, as is Justin White. I had speculated he might have got a little bit of damage from that incident that he had, and that appears not to be the case, at least not any longer now that he's come down pit road, because he is right there with Tellier, and neither of these drivers falling too far back for the time being, as he's going to try to get down low and force the issue with Mike to try to make this pass, but not quite close enough. He's going to slot in just on the tow hitch. Try it all again down in 3 and 4, see what he can do. Looks like Tellier takes a bit of a deeper entry and a wider line. And that does seem to be where you want to be in 3 and 4. I mean, watching these guys, a little bit of side-by-side action here. The 16 down low. Corner makes a move on Miller. Got a little bit squirrely, but really impressive. He was able to keep it clean, no contact made, and then actually drives away a little bit through the trioval. So good move by the 16. Now trying to reel in Adam Newton, who again was involved in that incident. Probably not too much damage. Again, he was able to keep it off the wall. The only damage he'd have is from the contact of the car itself. So see what he can do. But up front, still battling for second. Justin White is not letting up. Every chance he gets to make a swing at it, he's taking a swing. But that swing actually cost him a little bit. Here comes the 48. Looks like he is going to take that high line up on the wall. And that's going to actually work out pretty well. He's going to take third place and now maybe make it a 2-for-1 deal Mike Tellier on the bottom side may have to concede this position.
Yeah, interestingly enough here, Tom Lester actually took on tires just a little while ago under that last caution, and just like that has elevated himself into a battle for the race lead now as he starts to close in on Mitchell Adams in front of him. So good, well, maybe good strategy call. We'll have to see how it exactly plays out, but we are looking at that battle for the first position as we are out there on the racetrack right now. And Andre, Tom Lester isn't shy to making some strategy calls, and I think this is going to work out well for the number 48 if we can kind of stay green for probably the next 40, 45 laps, and even to the end. I think this puts him at a pretty decent point to maybe make it on just one more pit stop. I'm not 100% sure, as I don't exactly know, but I think it's going to be tight for Tom Lester as he whips around Mitchell Adams and to the front for the first time tonight.
Looks like that 48 is going to do a little bit of front running for the first time tonight, and not a bad strategy call at all if this thing stays green. Now, if we start getting a rash of cautions, maybe I'd question it, but for right now, things working out pretty well. The takeaway here, though, Peter, is that not only did Lester get around him on those fresh tires, but Justin White and the number 29 of McKee, as well as Mike Tellier, not too far behind, they have caught Mitchell Adams. And I think that long-run speed is starting to show for the cars a little bit further back. Adams was worried about the tire wear, and he's been posting really fast lap times, and that's great for a while. But if you're consistently the fastest car on the track, you got to think you're burning up your tires, and I think that is exactly the case. Look at how close Justin White got there. I don't think there was any contact, but I think that may just be because Justin White cut him a break there, let off the throttle. That opened the door for McKee to make a lunge down on that painted yellow line, hooking that bottom. That was a perfect corner, but the caution is going to fly. Not entirely certain what the cause is. We'll take a look at the through-wide TV replay, try and decode exactly what transpired. Oh, no. Was this Adam Newton again? No, this was the 16 at corner.
Oh, and Paul Bilson also involved in that one. Let's see if we can get another look at what happened between the 16 and the 00. Let's go high atop the grandstand here, and they just kind of came together, very similar to what we saw a little while ago. Definitely a little bit different there, Andre, but we kind of had, that issue a little while ago with TJ Elaine and the number 4 of Adam Newton, where one car just kind of turned in a little bit early, and that's what it seemed like right there. Corner didn't really turn for the corner and just kind of hooked Paul Bilson into the outside wall.
Yeah, I'd have to say that was a spatial awareness issue on both of those drivers. Corner was turning in just a little bit early, and Paul Bilson, I mean, he shot up about 6 lanes of racetrack there. I don't know what the end goal was there, but one came up, one came down, and you can't really blame either one more than the next. But end result, 2 junked race cars. That's likely going to take them behind the wall, and a couple drivers able to scoot on by there, able to avoid the carnage, but definitely a nasty wreck. I mean, that was a hard hit for the 00. All of that momentum transferred directly into the safer barrier. But everybody coming down pit road, and this is going to maybe be the saving grace for the driver who was starting to fade. Mitchell Adams, he was starting to fall back a little ways. The tires were not on his side. Now he's got a chance to come down pit road, take 4 fresh ones. Got a few drivers that appear to have taken 2 or none at all, beating our leaders off of pit road. And is that no way. Is that Bilson? Oh, Bilson, my goodness.
Bilson's still out there. I mean, he just got hooked into the wall. And I don't know.
He hit that wall at Mach 1. I can't believe the car doesn't even look bad.
Surely they have a fast repair or something, or they left fast repairs on.
If they did, though, then why didn't Elaine take one? I mean,
that's a good question. But, maybe if we look at Adam Newton, let's take a peek at the number 4. I mean, the number 4 looks nice and clean, too. I'm just going to kind of see. I mean, sometimes I can kind of tell what some of the settings are that they have here. I mean, they have 3 tire changes here tonight. Yep. I have found the answer, Andre. There
And
should
that
be
is?
no retirements here tonight.
Uh-oh.
Ha! We have unlimited fast repairs.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, pound the wall as much as you want. I guess that's good news, though, if you're Joshua Corner, because that was a number 16 modified, and now it's back to looking like a brand new Ford Mustang.
Yeah, that was a modified just a few minutes ago. No front end, front tires completely exposed, and now in good shape. So I don't know. I know we didn't have fast repairs last week, and I know that when old Jimbo commented on it, he said we're not going to implement fast repairs because somebody had asked about it. So I would have to assume that was an error in the session itself. But nonetheless, that's good for us, Peter. It makes our lives a lot easier when there's more cars on track.
Yeah, and also means that when one car gets junked, I don't have to feel all too bad about it. They'll just be able to bounce back like nothing ever happened, although they do only have 3 sets of tires on pit road. That might be a little bit interesting. Now, we did highlight that like Mike Tellier came down to not take a set of tires, so I think he saved a set. Same thing maybe with Vincent Valvano, Garrett Gleason as well. So those drivers might have an extra set of tires at the end of the night, as I think some of the leaders, pretty much all the leaders, have now gone through 2 sets of their 3, so they only have 1 fresh set of tires left. That could be interesting as the green flag waves once again. Third caution in the rear, and it is Tom Lester and Brent McKee leading us towards turn number 1, but McKee did not get a great restart, and here comes Mitchell Adams whipping around the outside on fresh tires. Just came down, put freshies on that last time by, and he is going to be hunting for the lead here in a hurry.
Yeah, now that he's got those fresh tires, Mitchell Adams is going to be making a move, and he's got to do it quick. There goes Paul Bilson trying to get around the 81, but don't look now. Adam Newton in that number 4 machine rocketing around that bottom side, and to the lead goes Mitchell Adams. Now you got to wonder, did he learn something from that last stint where everybody was closing in? Is he going to try to be a little bit more aggressive on the conservation as the number 4 going to force the issue with Paul Bilson? A little bit of contact there, a little bit of a friendly nudge out of the way, and then everybody continues on their merry way. But now that these guys are realizing there's unlimited fast repairs, I have no doubt everybody in the session is now aware of that. Does that change the aggression level? If they know that they can just down pit road and fix their car no matter what happens, does that mean they get a little bit more bold?
I don't think that means they get a little bit more bold. I mean, I think these drivers pride themselves on racing clean here in the National Sim Racing Association. I know we had a lot of cautions last week at iRacing Super Speedway, but you don't often see that here in this league. You see a lot of green flag racing. I think these drivers are going to do as much as they can to kind of keep things nice and clean and green. Here we go on board with Justin White looking across his side of his car. He actually right there was 3 wide there momentarily. They're trying to go around the 00 machine of Paul Bilson, who used that fast repair much to his credit and benefit in all that mess. Now Mitchell Adams out front, able to gap almost 2 seconds on Adam Newton. Tom Lester has now slid back to 3rd after his tire gamble. Didn't really, I think, Andre, we were going to say that if it stays green, pretty good position, but the bad news is it didn't stay green, and now starting to slide back under fire here from the number 2, Justin White.
And I think what we're going to see here is we're going to see a bit of a slinky effect. They're all stretching out now, but I think they're going to find each other before too long, because these 2 cars out front, look, Mitchell Adams, 2.5 seconds advantage. He is driving the wheels off that thing, and I mean that literally. Those tires are got to be cooking up there. And Adam Newton, he's in 2nd now. He's been flying, but he passed 6 cars in this stint since we went green. He's been racing the wheels off that thing too. Justin White's been playing it conservative just like he always does. Lester in the 48, he's been playing it a little bit conservative. So, they're going to have better tires if this stays green. And so we're going to see those leaders fall back to the field just like we did in that last stint before the caution. And that's when things are going to get really interesting here, because that's going to put some of these drivers on defense and put some of them in more offensive positions. But right there, the 81 just able to hold back that 29. McKee has been an interesting figure this race. He's been up front, he's been out back, he's been everywhere in between, and mostly he's just never had a second to breathe. It seems like every time we focus on that 29, he's either hunting somebody down or being hunted, but never just off in his own little racetrack where he can run his lines. Here he goes down to the bottom, closing in ever so slightly. And that is what McKee has been really good at all night, Peter. When he hooks that bottom, that car doesn't get sideways. It doesn't step out on him. He doesn't lose hardly any momentum. When it comes to bottom feeding, I think he's got that thing dialed in.
Yeah, definitely has a pretty good-looking race car. It does have some right-side scratches. Not sure. That might have been from a little bit of contact there on the restart. As you see, Paul Bilson just cracked the top four for the first time here tonight, right in front of Tom Lester in the number 48, who continues his drop back through the field. Here comes Nathan Eastep in the number 55. He's yo-yoed up and down the scoring pylon here tonight, starting to make some headway. Qualified in third here tonight, so we know he's got the single lap pace, but just has not been able to really back that qualifying lap up with a top 5 position for most of the night. But as I say that, gets himself back up into the top 5 drivers. Meanwhile, look at this, Andre, as Justin White has run down the number 4 of Adam Newton as they battle things out, and we finish lap number 59.
Is exactly what I was expecting. Justin White has been really good on the long run tonight. And that 4 car, he's been good on the long run too, but he was put in a unique circumstance this time because he had to pass a lot of cars. He had to drive hard. He was denied the opportunity to play it conservative. So the fact that he is now falling to the clutches of Justin White, not much of a surprise. Meanwhile, the battle between Eastep and Bilson is going to continue, with Bill Lester also, or Tom Lester also showing a little bit of his hand there. A little bit further back as well, the number 16, the former modified car, now with a new front end, going to try to hook that low line, get around that 95 machine of Ratcliffe. Looks like he's going to make that move successfully. They're going to go single file into the corner. And that 16, I wouldn't quite count him out. He's had some decent speed tonight, just been kind of stuck in traffic and involved in a couple incidents. But if he can keep it clean, who knows what he's capable of. But I am noticing we're getting 2 distinct packs, and I don't just mean the accidental multi-class session that we've got set up. I mean, really, we've got 3 distinct packs. We got our leaders, we got that second pack, and then we got that third pack, and there is racing all over in each of those packs. Looks like the 16 going to get up to the 29 of McKee. I think that 81 might actually be holding McKee up a little bit, allowing these guys to close in, but he's doing a good job playing defense here, keeping those guys at bay.
Yeah, there is definitely some good battles out there on the racetrack. Let's jump back up to the battle for a second. Adam Newton and Justin White right here on your screen. It does seem like Justin White maybe losing just a little bit of time to Adam Newton, but they are slowly but surely closing in on our race leader. The race lead now down to just about 1.2 seconds between the top 2. What's odd and crazy on my end is, as odd and crazy as the live timing and scoring is on the graphics here, it's all fine on my end. I mean, everything seems odd, and I mean, I use the same software to kind of push out, the graphics. So I really am not sure what's going on, but White running right behind. Meanwhile, let's jump a little bit further back. Here's Tellier. Remember, Andre saved a set of tires. Did not take tires under that last caution, now about 12 seconds or so behind our race leader.
Yeah, 12 seconds back is going to be a difficult gap to overcome. Saves for some really good strategy or maybe a lucky caution, but here comes the 16 again, kind of weaving down the straightaway, looking high, looking low, not quite close enough. Mike Tellier in that 47, also a part of this group now. He was up front earlier in the night, but once he found himself a little bit further back in the pack, he couldn't quite get out of that group, but he is getting aggressive with it now, trying to get underneath the 16. Thought about making it 3 wide momentarily, but even though he does seem to be a little bit quicker, when these guys are battling 2 by 2 in front of him, nowhere to really go. So he's going to have to settle back and watch these guys sort themselves out. Only once they go single file is he really going to have a good shot at making that move. 7 as well back there. Gleason, 13 seconds back, as we mentioned. He's kind of closing in a little bit. We're seeing that slinky effect. Some of these cars further back, they got better long run tires. The cars up front starting to fade just a little bit. So it's interesting to see how these long runs are shaking out. But I tell you what, man, I think the patience is waning on that 47. He's tried high, he's tried low, nothing's worked.
Yeah, nothing appears to be working at the moment. Now, I have finally cracked the code, Andre, in terms of the different classes of racers here tonight. Do you have any guesstimate on or any guess on what that might be?
I would assume that instead of having teams, they accidentally made a multi-class race, but I could be wrong.
They did. And the Chevrolets are in a class together. The Fords are in a class together. And the Toyotas are in a class together. Did Mitchell Adams just catch the ball there off of turn number 4? Let's go back and see if that number... I think I saw a puff of smoke out of the corner of my eye. Let's see if that's true or not here on the 3-wide TV replay. Goes up the racetrack and, yep, just kissed it right there off of turn number 4.
Just goes to show that long run pace, not with that 83. The car starts to become a bit of a handful for him, as he is now starting to lose that 2-second lead that he had. Third place now is only 0.7 of a second back. And second place, I'd have to assume just a car length ahead. It's about 0.6 to 0.5 back. Again, timing and scoring not really showing us due to the multi-class session by mistake, but you can only infer that it's not much of a gap when you can see them both in the same frame. Justin White with phenomenal long run speed. I mean, he has been so good all night long. He's been waiting for this long run, and he's been denied every time. We get into a longer green flag run and a caution comes out, but this time things have stayed green, and it's playing into his hand. It's playing into both these drivers' hands as they reel in Adams. Here's some more side-by-side. Hey, I think I've seen this episode before. It's called Mike Tellier Tries to Pass. And, well, it's still not working, because every time he does, they go too wide in front of him. And this is a very wide track, but to make a move 3 wide, you either have to be Cole Custer or very lucky.
Yeah, and, I gotta say, there's some pretty good battles out there on the racetrack. Again, we got those the distinct kind of packs. This being the biggest one, currently led by Corner, Tellier, Miller, Gleason, and then McKee and William Ratcliffe. Then Vincent Valvano is a little bit further back in the number 9 machine as Tom Lester on pit road. This is interesting. I think was the last on pit road around lap number 35 or so. So maybe only making it 35 laps on fuel, but with... Or it just very well could be this is inside the window now where he can make it the rest of the race on fuel. I'm not exactly sure which one, but the number 48 is going to come down into his pit box. I think it was lap number 34 when he came down pit road. So only about 36, 37 laps as Mitchell Adams goes on by as your race leader. But Andre, top 3 have kind of slinkied back together, to use your terminology from earlier.
Yes, they have. It is a 3-car battle now. And Mitchell Adams trying to keep these guys at bay. And I think the only thing that he really has in his deck of cards that's working out for him here is that Justin White is being so aggressive with this 4 that he's making Adam Newton take defensive lines. He's got to take shallow entries. He's got to kind of park the bus in the corner to keep him from passing. And that's slowing him down. That's preventing him from carrying the momentum to make a move for the lead. Now, if these guys could play nice and just run their lines, I think they could get around the leader easy. But playing nice isn't exactly something you see in motorsports, especially NASCAR, too often. Look at that, a shot from the number 4. Speaking of playing nice, he's going to have to let off just a little bit. It's going to open the door for Justin White to close back in. He's just able to drive it in so deep, that number 4 taking a way, way deeper braking point than either of these drivers. But unfortunately, you've got somebody right in front of you that driving it in deep doesn't really go very far. Hooking the low line, going to close back in here. Adams doing a great job. He's not doing too much mirror driving. You notice, Peter, he's not really trying to take the 4's lane away. He's not, trying to copy his lane, put him in dirty air. Mitchell's just running his lines. He's running his race, and if the 4 gets up there, so be it. But he's hitting his marks and doing everything he needs to do.
Yeah, definitely at this moment in time doing all that he needs to do to hold on to that spot as we close into 60 laps to go this time by. Also, let's jump a little bit further back in the pack. On board with Garrett Gleason, the Comans Care Chevrolet, running right behind Thad Miller. There's the number 81 right there to the side of the Comans Care Chevrolet. Good looking ride. I think Thad's dad was in the chat just last week saying, hey, that's the paint scheme he used to run out there in real life, and pretty cool that Thad has that on his race car. Love seeing that little father-son tie-in. But for right now, looks like Thad going to hold on to that spot. Let's jump back up to the battle for the race lead as things starting to calm down maybe just a little bit. I think we're back to single file racing. It's taken us a while to go back to single file action. But something happened with Tom Lester. Ooh, something has happened with Tom Lester. And Andre, just coming off pit road a lap or two ago, this is not what he wanted to have happen.
No, he'll be coming back down pit road. Take a look at the 3-wide TV replay. If I had to guess, I think he just got a little loose in the corner on those fresh tires. Maybe got a little bit in over his head, and we'll have to wait and see. I mean, maybe he got help. Now there's nobody around him, so he's coming into 3 and 4. A little bit hot into the corner, gonna bounce it off that safer barrier, and he actually breaks the right front axle.
I think that might have been some connection issue. Let's see if we can go back and get another look at this. I think what you're going to see is that steering wheel, or his steering wheel is at home, must have had a problem. Let's see if we can bring up the roll bar cam. Let's see if we can spin the camera around. Watch that steering wheel going down the backstretch, and then all of a sudden, somewhere about here, it just kind of,
that's just full lock left.
Yeah, it's not doing things right, and so that's a tough break for him, and finds the inside wall right there. And yeah, Tom Lester, I think hopefully he can get back out there, but he's going to have to nurse it back to pit road. Meanwhile, back live out there on the racetrack, you haven't missed anything up at the front of the field. It is still Mitchell Adams leading the field and leading the Chevrolet class. And then right behind him is Adam Newton, who's leading the Ford class. And then behind him, Justin White is second in the Chevrolet camp, but right now they want to be the overall leader, and that is Adam Newton looking for the race lead. Almost contact there, Andre.
He did a good job, though. He let off the throttle, didn't make any contact, and that did cost him some time there, but he played it respectful, and I can definitely respect that. He's going to have to regroup, try it again. Definitely has the faster car at the moment. Meanwhile, Justin White, I'm starting to feel like maybe that number 2 is fading. He was charging pretty hard. Now he's just about a car length off. Still definitely within attacking distance, but maybe not as quick as he was. Meanwhile, Adam Newton doing everything he can try to get around this 83. But when you get these old tires, if you cook the right front and you start to wear that car tight, that bottom lane becomes harder and harder to run. You lunge down there to make a move. All of a sudden, you feel that car start to shoot up the track. You think, oh boy, and all you can do is let off the throttle because turning the wheel any further ain't going to do nothing. So you just have to slow down and hope that you don't hit anything. And now he's going to take that higher lane. We have a taker down pit road, Mike Tellier on lap 81. So this will put him roughly 56, 57 laps from the end of the race, as will the number 7 Garrett Gleason taking his stop. There's Vinny Valvano in the 64. Glad I got to say his name again, coming down to his pit stall. Get that car serviced. I would assume 57 laps, 100% distance fuel, I would have to say is about 67, 68 laps, Peter, and 75% capacity. That's on the limit, I think, but maybe doable with some conservation.
Yeah, I think it's got to be within the window, because I wouldn't have seen that those drivers would have been using as much fuel as some of these leaders out front. I know they came and I think topped off with fuel as well. But Tellier are going to go 1 lap down, almost 2 laps down. Gleason 2 laps down. McKee, who pitted a couple of laps ago, we missed his pit stop. He's 2 laps down right now. They're going to have to wait for kind of everything to cycle on through. Now, the big thing for those drivers is they do have an extra set of tires left on pit road. When these leaders come down and make their presumably final pit stop, Andre. That's it. They're done. They're out of tires for the rest of the race.
Yeah, and that's not a fun situation to be in, especially if you get a late race caution. If there's anybody in the field that still has tires left, they've got an automatic advantage. Might be all she wrote if you find yourself lacking tires. No, my goodness, contact. 83 maybe getting a little bit too defensive. The 4 was entering really low, and the 83 tried to pinch him, so a little bit of contact made. He's going to slide up to the wall, no contact with it, and it looks like the 4 will get clear into the lead. The question is, can he pull away? I think he definitely had the faster car. Now he's got clean air, but oh, a shot! A hard shot. That damaged the front end of the 83. That was such a hard hit, and he's going to go down to the back to the bottom. Now he's trying to take the lead back. Look at this. Justin White, 3 wide for the lead, coming down the back straightaway. Justin White from downtown takes the lead at least for a split second before he's got to let off the throttle, concede back to third. That was an aggressive shove out of the 83, and they're going to go 3 wide again for the lead.
Can you tell that the lap counter is starting to wind down? 50 laps to go. It's go time here at the Kentucky Speedway. Now it looks like Adam Newton finally able to clear Mitchell Adams. We'll see if there's any more contact. But Andre, that could have been pretty big. The number 4 of Newton's already been turned around once here tonight, but he now out front can try and start to pull away from the 83 behind him.
Yeah, and he's going to have to, I think, if he wants to live, because that 83 is not pulling any punches whatsoever. I mean, the damage is what astounds me. The number 4, the rear bumper of that 4 is caved in like he just backed into a telephone pole. And the 83, I mean, that has got to be some radiator damage on that car. I mean, it completely mangled his splitter. So, I mean, it looked hard, and the damage is definitely confirming that. Justin White, he had a good shot to make it 3 wide for the lead, but again, we're on such old tires now that if you're on the bottom 2 or 3 wide, it's generally not going to work out in your favor. It's better to be up high, and so he had to fall back into third. He's only 1/10 of a second back from Adams here. Now he's going to drive it in deep in that Grinds Coffee Pouches machine. These guys all so close together, and the pace just equalizing. Some of these guys had long-run cars, some of these guys had short-run cars, but we're just at the point now where the tires are so cooked. There is nothing left. The car is just a car. There is no long run. There is no short run. It's just hold on for dear life and see what happens.
Yeah, and number 28 machine, as we ride on board using the new camera and all of its features, finally able to get back underneath. And looks like for right now, the number 28 machine is going to prevail with that preferred groove. Might take a couple of laps, but got to be patient as Justin White here, Andre, starting to see a number 4 disappear off into the distance. Here comes Vincent Valvano and fresh tires. Andre, look at how strong the fresh tires are on the Talking Giants Ford Mustang.
Oh yeah, he's out here just cooking. He is flying, and if he can get himself back on the lead lap the old-fashioned way, that's going to be a huge safety net if we were to get a caution. If something were to happen, he would not have to rely on a lucky dog of any sort, which he would not get anyways, because it looks like Tellier is actually the lucky dog, and Valvano's 2 laps down, so he put himself 1 lap down with his pass. I correct myself there. I'm not sure how he went 2 down. Must have been a very long pit stop. But finally into second, Justin White completes that pass. It was a few laps in the making. Paul Bilson in the 00 Tide Ride. He's currently rocking 6th place. He's following along with Joshua Corner, who I said, by the way, don't count that 16 out. And when I said that, he was back in 11th. Now he's up in 5th place, so definitely marching in the right direction. E-Step in 4th ahead of them as well, doing a pretty good job. We were talking about whether or not he may have been saving earlier in the race. That may be the case, as he's back inside the top 5 from all the way back in 12th at one point.
Andre, I just wonder if maybe Bilson here, I don't know if he's blown a tire or something. He seems to be way off the pace. Maybe having to save fuel. I don't know, but last time by ran a 35.2 second lap time to Adam Newton's 33.5. So I don't know if Bilson is on the verge of blowing a tire or what, but unfortunately for him right now, that's not very good.
Yeah, I don't think that's blown tire territory. Generally, if you blow a tire in iRacing, the car just goes straight. You'd be 10, 15 seconds off the pace because you'd have to basically stop to get that thing through the corner. I would not be surprised if he's in mega conservation mode. Maybe he realized that his fuel calculations were just a wee bit off and he's got to do some saving in order to make it to the end. But either way, he's not really taking the short way around the track either. That's one thing I'm noticing. If he is saving, he's not taking the shortest route around the track, which would be beneficial. Here comes the leaders down into pit road. Look at this. Behind Adam Newton, Mitchell Adams and Justin White are both going to lock it up. They were side by side. 28 takes the position getting into the pit road. And they're going to come down this lane into their pit stall, see if they can all get a good entry. 50 miles an hour to their stalls. There goes Justin White. There goes Adam Newton. Now the pole sitter is going to have the furthest box and came in a little hot, but got stopped just in time. I think everybody was able to hit their box just right. That is going to be the money stop because I think lap 94, there is no question that they can make it another 42 laps. That should be well within the realm of plausibility, but something going on with this 83. He is stuck in his stall. Adam Newton and Justin White long gone. What happened there?
The only thing I can think of, Andre, is maybe
Damage repair.
Well, maybe. I
No,
mean,
fast
we
repair,
have
fast repair.
we do have fast repairs, but I think perhaps might have forgotten to check all the tires. I don't know. Just looking at 22 seconds in his box. I think maybe forgot to check the tires once and maybe kind of had to wait for the whole thing to kind of stop and then I don't know. Either way, that is a extended stop for Mitchell Adams and potentially putting him out of the running. As Joshua Corner on pit road right now, Adam Newton will inherit the race lead right where he was as we seem to have cycled on through. One thing I'm a little bit interested about is, I was curious to know where Mike Tellier would kind of fall out because he pitted 13 laps earlier than our race leader. And I thought that those 13 laps, Andre, would be enough for him to kind of pole vault himself to the race lead. That's not true. And now the number 47 finds himself about 4.5 seconds back. I can see it on my end. Apologize, you can't see it on your end due to the fact that kind of set up the session with different classes with a Toyota and Chevrolet and Fords in their individual classes. And I guess my lifetime and scoring ticker thing can't handle overall. Maybe that's something that we can look into here on the 3-Wide TV in case this happens again. But top to bottom, 1st to 14th is all correct numerically. But Adam Newton and Justin White currently sitting 1-2, then Tellier, and then Adams. The gap between Adams and Adam Newton, well, it's actually a little bit bigger than that just because the 11.96 seconds there you see on your left-hand screen, well, that is actually relative to the first Chevrolet, which is the number 2 machine of Justin White.
Yes, so definitely have to read the scoring pylon a little bit different. Justin White is actually reeling in the 4. He was a little bit further back last time we had these two on camera, and now he's closing that distance slowly but surely. But again, we've seen how difficult it can be to pass. Also, just want to point out the number 7, Garrett Gleason, is behind the wall. He had some technical difficulties, as he pointed out in chat there on the 3-Wide TV channel. Said he had some speed, but his computer said, nope, we're not doing this, and that is always a disappointment, especially when it happens this late in the race. That 7 was looking pretty good. You know, he was one of the few drivers keeping it clean. He wasn't involved in any incidents, and he was putting down some good lap times. But sometimes the racing gods do not smile upon thee, and we'll have to see if he can just make up for it next week, have a good run, get that momentum built back up. In the meantime, these two single file. You got Tellier in 3rd, and Tellier is not in a good position right now. As you said, Peter, he pitted 13 laps before these leaders. So he is now on a huge deficit for the tires. He has no real track position advantage to speak of as a result, and he is just going to be going the wrong way for the majority of this. Now, Mitchell Adams, probably the fastest short run car on the track, and he's going to have to use that short run speed because after that 22-second pit stop, He cycled out 13 seconds back from the next vehicle in his class, but fifth overall. And he is quite a ways off of our leaders with not too much time to close that distance. So he's going to have to hope for either a lucky caution or he's going to have to absolutely wheel that thing. But in the meantime, a step in front of him, he's definitely target engaged. He sees him in that windshield and he's closing in a little bit here, a little bit there, but little wiggles like that aren't going to help matters. He got down on the apron. You could see he just clipped it and that cost him some time. So definitely a little bit of desperation behind the wheel at his home track. This win would have meant a lot for him. And to kind of choke it away with a bit of a mistake on pit road, always a tough feeling.
Yeah, spent 7 extra seconds in his pit box relative to everyone else. I think that's about the amount of time it takes to change a set of left-hand or right-hand side tires. So not sure if that was the reason why, but for right now, Mitchell Adams right behind the number 55 machine of E-Step right in front of him, and gonna have to duke this one out for a top 4. Tellier up in front, we have highlighted that he's got older tires, so these two are catching Tellier at a pretty decent clip. Let's see if we can bring up kind of the time variation over the last few laps between Tellier and the driver that we ride on board with right now, and that should be coming up here in just a second. There we go. There's the graphic. You see over the last 5 laps, Andre is taking it down from about 5.7 seconds down to about 3 on Tellier. That gap will continue to close. So do expect him to probably be on Tellier's back bumper here in the next 6 or 7 laps or so, to at least move him up into 4th if he's unable to get past E-Step. But E-Step with, that number 55 machine, well, I don't know, last week was an interesting one, Andre. I think that's maybe one that we'll kind of look back at and go, you know what, maybe we should forget the way last week all kind of went out. But Nathan
E-Step. I don't know what you're talking about. There was no race last week, huh?
Nathan E-Step currently coming into tonight 5th place in points and looking for a podium to continue the strong start to the season here in the National Sim Racing Association. 31 laps to go this time, Mile. Let's see what the battle for the lead looks like. There it is. Looking at the front nose of the Grind's Coffee Pouches, 28 of Justin White. And then behind Justin White, there is Brent McKee. Now, do want to highlight that on that round of pit stop, Brent McKee in the number 29 didn't necessarily have any problems, but did pit a little bit later. A couple of other drivers, though, can't say the same. Joshua Corner, problems for the number 16 Ford. I believe speeding on pit road. Not good for Corner. And then Tom Lester in the number 48. Also, similar story. I believe speeding on pit road for him puts him multiple laps behind the field. Already having those connection problems. Steering wheel problems. In fact, I kind of take that back. I don't know if he did have any problems, but we do have problems out there on the racetrack for Mike Tellier. Now, this is an interesting call, Andre. Maybe he couldn't make it the rest of the way on fuel, but you know what? That right there is a bad sign. Possible speeding for Tellier on pit road here, sitting in his pit box. I was a bit surprised that he came down pit road. But might have made matters worse with a speeding penalty, as we were talking about drivers possibly having speeding penalties. Who'd have thunk?
Yeah, I didn't see either jack stand go up yet, so definitely something not right. I don't know if it was speeding or if just something came up in real life. He had to come down pit road and park it for a moment. But take a look at the 3-wide TV replay, maybe try to see if he came in a little hot or what exactly transpired. And he didn't mean to come down pit road. I think that's... I think maybe he just got a little loose. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I think he meant to come down pit road, but I think he missed that kind of commitment spot. So I don't know. I mean, he's back out there on the racetrack. This is live scenes as they head down the backstretch. But Tellier jumping right up in front of the number 29 of McKee, and they make contact. No. And Tellier with a big slide right in front of our race leaders. Big slide for the Canadian driver. Finished second last week at iRacing Super Speedway. Good save there. but that could have been big right in front of Adam Newton and Justin White.
In the words of Ricky Rudd, how did he save that thing? He's just that daggone good. I don't know how he brought that thing around. I would have bet good money he was backing that thing into the fence, but that was a great save, and I bet you the leaders were more than a little bit panicked seeing that happen in their windshield when they're getting so close to the end of this thing. Neither of these drivers are in the clear yet. Of course, they're still battling with one another, and they've got all this lap traffic around them on similar or even better tires. 25 to go at this stripe. Looks like McKee's going to get one of his laps back the old-fashioned way, as Adam Newton going to slot in behind him right on the bumper. Here comes the 47. Now, question is, how's the 47 going to react? I don't think that bump was intentional by the 29, but comes a time where I think maybe you just get tired of being the punching bag for a race, and I guess the 29 saw that coming. He said, all right, buddy, I'm going to move out of the way. I got older tires. He went about 3 lanes up, gave Tellier the room, probably the smartest decision he could have made. But overall, he is starting to hold up Adam Newton a little bit. That's letting Justin White close in. He's there. I mean, in a matter of 2 corners, he went from 4 car lengths back to being there thanks to McKee here. This could be big.
Yeah, this definitely seems to be shaking things up a little bit as the number 28 grinds coffee pouches machine of Justin White starts to make a little noise here. 23 to go this time by McKee. Seems to have let at least the leader on by. Throws kind of a block on Justin White. McKee there might have hit the apron through turn number 1 and 2. Washes up the racetrack. Almost makes contact with the outside wall. That should give Justin White a run. But McKee not playing nice with Adam Newton. Not playing nice now with Justin White.
Yeah, definitely starting to get a little bit rough, as you would expect, with only 23 to go. Justin White now going to get to the quarter panel of the 29, and 29 says, all right, you want to go to the apron? You can stay there. I mean, for a lap down car, and not just 1 lap down, by the way, he is 3 laps down, so can't say I fully understand the aggression here with the leader and with Justin White, but, you know, it's his race. He's got every right to race hard if he thinks he can gain something out of it, so I can't be too hard on him. Justin White, though, losing a little bit of time out of that interaction. And now, oh my goodness, McKee is going to door him from 3 laps down. I'm a little bit confused. Like, I'm just a little bit baffled.
Yeah, I'm a little bit baffled myself. You know, but yeah, I don't know. I mean,
if he was 1 lap down.
Yeah, I think Justin White there is kind of showing his displeasure because definitely losing quite a bit of ground.
Yeah, I mean, if McKee was 1 lap down and he's trying to get back on the lead lap the old-fashioned way so he doesn't have to worry about a lucky dog, I'd say more power to you. You know, yeah, they're the leaders, but you got your race to run too. But, I mean, 3 laps down when there are other cars, you know, you'd need, 5 cautions to even have a chance at lucky dog. I can't say I understand the aggression, but either way, it's given us a huge gap from Newton to Estep. You see the 48 back out on track. He's got his steering wheel issues resolved. It took about 8 laps, but he's back on track in 12th. Justin White hugging that seam down there. And I'm going to hope for the 29's sake that Justin does not get to him, because if he does, I can't imagine it's going to be too pretty. But Adam Newton's loving it. He doesn't care what's going on back there. He's just saying, all right, this is working out for me. It could be a very, very real chance here at a spin and win for Adam Newton.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Adam Newton got turned around by Elaine early in the race, and unfortunately for Elaine, his race went no further. Now, I'm kind of scratching my head a little bit, Andre, because if you've been watching over there on the scoring pylon, somehow, some way, I don't know if this is if this has been like this for the whole. Maybe someone at home can rewind. But at some point, Jason Shu's name popped up on the scoring pylon, and I don't know at all when that might have happened. But somehow we got up to 15 cars. Jason Shu kind of just jumping in and not even turning a lap time. So the number 3 will be the 15th car. but did not start here tonight. Although I say that, holy smokes! We got 17 laps to go, and we got the 15th entrant here tonight, Jason Shu, 119 laps down.
Now the question is, how many laps did Elaine make before he pulled it off? Because
yeah, there's no way Elaine made 32 laps.
Okay, so can't. I was gonna say, if he made less than 17, that would be a storyline for him to show up here at the end and pass somebody. But either way, at least he's here.
Yeah, Jason Shu going to pick up some points. Not a whole lot of points, but points nonetheless. And yeah, I honestly can't say I've ever seen the 3 wide TV graphic with someone more than 100 laps down and still out there on the racetrack as Justin White throwing up some smoke there in the back of the picture. You see our race leader Adam Newton getting around Joshua Corner. Nothing really out there on the racetrack for any battles. Might watch Thad Miller, who is closing in about 0.4 of a second on Vincent Valvano. That would be, as I say that, here comes Vincent Valvano onto pit road. So that erases that battle for position. So move Thad up into the 6th position. But meanwhile, in regards to other battles out there on the racetrack, there's none within 4 seconds. Mitchell Adams has lost ground on Nathan Estep. Right there with the number 95 machine of William Ratcliffe, who is being scored 1 lap down. In fact, almost 1 full lap behind Mitchell Adams there in 4th. The battle for the race lead, we saw that. That's hovering at about 2 seconds. The battle between Estep and Adams is 4 seconds. And then the next closest battle is, I think, between Thad Miller and William Ratcliffe. That battle is about 8.5 seconds apart from one another. Just looking to see if we got any, big drivers out there running really, really fast lap times. I mean, Tellier's running good lap times, but he's, by courtesy of the pit lane mishap, about 22, 23 seconds behind Joshua Corner, and just not enough laps to make up that gap. So seems like we just got to keep our eyes on Adam Newton and see whether or not he's got enough fuel to make it to the checkered.
Yeah, it's going to be close, but I think if he was worried about it, he'd probably be saving a little bit more than he is. So I don't really think we've got a whole lot to be concerned with, as he's just kind of making his laps. He's got a decent lead over Justin White, courtesy of McKee, who 3 laps down, getting aggressive, but a step 15 seconds back from the next car, which is going to be White, I believe. And Mitchell Adams, that's kind of surprised me. I thought Adams would be able to get around that 55, especially on the longer run, but no, Estep has pulled away 5 seconds the advantage over Mitchell Adams, and that is going to be really disappointing if it finishes where they run for Adams. He came in fastest in practice, got the pole, wants to win his home track, and just a little bit of a mistake at the wrong time. That is what's going to happen. But in the meantime, Estep trying to get a podium. It looked like back at iRacing Super Speedway, I mean that race that didn't happen, it looked like Estep had a real shot at it, at least at the beginning. Maybe now looking for some redemption, getting up on a podium perhaps. Paul Bilson, he was on his way to the trauma center, I think, at one point, and now he's looking at a top 5 finish. If we were to get a caution, he's the provisional lucky dog. And Miller in the 81, the tribute scheme to his dad, running P6 as well. Ratcliffe in 7th. Joshua Corner, he was up in 5th, fell back to 8th place. Vinny Valvano, we saw him come down pit road, sitting 9th place. And Mike Tellier, after his unscheduled stop, is all the way back in 10th. It has not been Mike's year. Let me tell you, Peter, between iRacing Super Speedway and now this week, it has just been rough for the Canadian.
Well, it will make things definitely interesting on the points tally. Adam Newton in that number 4 machine, of course, last week at iRacing Super Speedway, involved in that late race battle for the win and coming out on the top side. So trying to go back-to-back for the number 4 here, Andre. What a great way it will be to start the season for Adam Newton. But for right now, Justin White trying to bounce back after what was a abysmal iRacing Super Speedway for him. So this race, kind of a tale of different drivers yo-yoing after last week. Got White having a rebound week. We have Tellier going from second last week down to 10th this week, and then kind of everyone in between looking for a little bit of redemption after what was a wild and crazy race at iRacing Super Speedway, to say the least.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Wild and crazy it was, but this week a little bit calmer. Only a handful of cautions for cause, and everybody kind of able to run their lines. We've only got so far 2 official DNFs. Jason Shu's back in the pits after making a couple laps. I'm not sure he's going to come back out, so make that 3 DNFs. But everybody else, the entire top 12 on track. Now for a bit of a move here. Looks like Mike is going to try to get around the 55. That is not for position, remember. He is 2 laps down in that 47 machine. So he's just kind of, at this point, driving for the sake of it. He's going to get a 2-car length gap, battle for the lead, and not closing in at all. Newton's still kind of walking away with it. Each step is 16 seconds back, but that is the gap. I mean, you can see the 4-car right there. When this camera pans backwards just on the edge of frame, you can see Justin White for a quick, brief second. That is too big of a gap to make up in 5 laps of racing, barring some sort of caution. So if Adam Newton can keep his head on straight and everybody else can reliably make laps and not bring out any cautions, this may be that would be 2 in a row for Newton, wouldn't it?
Yep, it definitely would be 2 for Adam. Of course, next week we go to the very interesting Gateway or Worldwide Technology Park or whatever it's called now. So it's going to be fun to go there. It's always an interesting, unique racetrack. And I mean, Kentucky's kind of a unique racetrack as well here tonight. But before the race ends, we want to give one more shout out to tonight's sponsor. It is the Lexi Jackson 135. And if you have not checked out the GoFundMe, make sure you do so. Just want to kind of go through it. They currently the Lexi Jackson family were placed with an autism service dog for a couple years. Great success. They've had some life-changing events happen in a matter of weeks. And unfortunately, the last service dog passed away. So if it pulls on your heartstrings like it does mine, please go over, click on that link in the chat, the GoFundMe link, and please donate. They're looking for a new service dog. The old service dog's name was Romance, and give a little bit of romance with the service dog going forward. And so they're looking forward to having a new puppy, a new dog that will be all fully trained, but that training costs a lot of money, and definitely hopefully get Lexi what Lexi needs in a service dog. We're down to just 2 more laps to go here on 3Wide TV. Race lead up to about 4 seconds. Adam Newton in absolute cruise control here, Andre.
Yeah, I mean, there's no pressure. Second place is so far out of frame. It is more than a straightaway between them with only 2 to go. At this point, he's just hoping there's no cautions. And as long as he can get through 3 and 4, get to this stripe, get the white flag in the air, it won't matter if there's a caution because the race will be official. And there it is, crossing the stripe, taking the white. That's going to be it. 1 victory lap for Adam Newton in the 4 around the defunct Kentucky Speedway. Through 1 and 2, just taking a leisurely pace down low and down the back straightaway. Paul Bilson maybe a little bit closer in frame this time than he was before, but being 1 lap down does not matter a whole lot. Through 3 and 4, Lexi Jackson 135 winner etched in the history books. It's going to be Adam Newton in the number 4 PPG Ford.
2 races, 2 wins for the number 4 machine. Great run for Adam Newton here tonight. We talked to him earlier in the show and got turned around at one point. A little bit of contact, was able to overcome that with a little bit of help from a fast repair. but nonetheless, victory lane for the number 4, and looked good all night long. Definitely very quick. Strong run for this driver right here, the number 28 machine of Justin White. A good recovery for him. And Nathan Estep, they're rounding out our podium. 19 and a half seconds behind Adam Newton, but he will be happy. Nonetheless, we'll get to talk to our top 3 finishers here in just a little bit. But, Andre, it's, I think, time for this driver here to burn it down.
Yeah, go ahead and blow them cylinders sky high. There ain't no need. You don't need him next week. You'll be building a new car. And he's going to do some donuts for us here in front of the front stretch grandstands. Now tarnishing the work the track painters have worked so hard to do. But, yeah, just going to be another celebration, probably out of many for Adam this season, if things continue the way they have. Almost kind of hiking the suspension up there, getting on that banking transition, but you can tell he's having a good time and definitely had some of the best long-run speed out of anybody. The race just kind of fell into his hands with the way the cautions were, and that mistake out of Mitchell Adams definitely changing the picture of the race for sure. He's going to park just on the outside of that Legends Oval. And I suppose we need to line up some post-race interviews, have some words with our drivers, see what this race was like from their perspective.
Yeah, just trying to get some of these drivers here into the channel, into our waiting room. I'm not actually seeing tonight's third place driver, Nathan Estep. He was here last week, but in the Discord, so I know he has access. Nathan, if you're at home and you're watching the 3Y TV broadcast, definitely tune in. But for right now, Andre, let's see if we can dial up tonight's runner-up, Justin White.
Mr. White, you got a copy?
I do.
Well, Justin, you had a really good car all night long. I mean, I don't think I seen you off the podium, but just a couple times, and that was mostly due to the pit sequences. Really good long-run speed, especially. And then at the end there, just kind of lost some ground, maybe some lap traffic interference. But tell me a little bit about your race.
Yeah, it's mostly lap traffic interference. A lot of race etiquette that was kind of tossed out the window there by a couple of guys, especially that one there towards the end. Not very happy with it. I showed them my displeasure after the race is over. There's a level of respect that needs to be given, and when your lap's down, you deserve the right to be out there to race hard for your position that you're in. But if you're not racing for a position and you got the leaders closing in on the end of the race, you just need to get out of the way. Just move out of the way and let the leaders fight it out, because he with him playing his I don't know, dumb games, we end up losing the right front of the truck on the car and just had no chance of catching Adam there.
Yeah, we up in the booth were more than a little bit baffled, to say the least. It was a strange situation, but good points day nonetheless, and it really showed that, Justin, I think this Xfinity car is kind of suiting you a little bit. And how do you feel about going into Gateway next week?
I feel pretty comfortable. I'll be honest, I hate these things, but I seem to do the best in these things. So, but yeah, we'll see what Gateway holds. See if we got time to run it next week, but because we started off the season pretty bad, getting wrecked on lap 1, turn 1. So we'll see what happens. But good win, Adam. Appreciate you guys broadcasting. Thanks to Grinds for sponsoring the car, and appreciate the guys who come out and show some respect in the league and respect the other drivers. Appreciate those guys, and then that's pretty much it for me.
All right. Well, Justin, thanks for your time. Congratulations on a good points day. We'll be seeing you next week.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, second place out of the booth, justifiably a little bit frustrated. And now Peter Short has made the long jog down to victory lane, where he's got up with Adam Newton.
Yeah, down here in victory lane for the second time in 2 weeks here on 3Y TV. Adam, much different racetrack last week than here tonight, but the same result for the number 4 machine. It wasn't easy, got turned around there in turn number 3, but a spin and win. Pretty good night for the number 4. Talk us through it.
It must be the ritual for what I need to do to win. It was pretty hard. Tires were key at the end, and at the other run, I had to hurry up and get around with Mitchell. And I know he probably didn't like my pass, but I tried to race them as clean as could, and I just felt like I kept getting chop blocked. So once I got around him, I thought it was going to be a pretty good race between me and Justin. And I don't know what the 29 was thinking, but I guess you good to be lucky, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. We highlighted that the 29 didn't really race you all too easy, and probably race the the 28 even more difficultly than you. But nonetheless, luck is on your side here tonight, and you were able to kind of go in to next week with 2 wins already to your name. What are your thoughts about Gateway?
Gateway is a crapshoot big time. I've historically had decent runs there, and I shoot myself in the foot and spin off turn 2. I think that's going to give a lot of guys trouble, especially in this car, but I think if we take our time, we'll have a decent finish.
Absolutely going to be a lot of fun here on 3 Wide TV. Before we let you go, any shout outs you'd like to give out here tonight?
Yeah, thank you, and I hope Jimbo feels better, and thank Justin and Tom for being in the room with me tonight, and thank Pam Pittman for her sponsorship. And we just go on to the next race, and I appreciate everybody's work and efforts with the league.
All right. Well, Adam, I do have to ask you one final question because it was playing with us up here in the booth all night long. But did you know that this was, I guess, set up as a multi-class race with the Fords pitted against the Chevrolets and the Toyotas?
I did not realize. I knew something was different because of the colors on the things, but I didn't realize that's what it was until like right at the end when Justin said something.
Yeah, well, it had us thrown for a loop up here in the 3 Wide TV booth for a while, but congratulations, I guess, on being the first class winner in, I don't know, Andre, does Justin get winner points since he won the Chevrolet class? No, that's not how that works. But Adam, congratulations. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, it's wishful thinking, and thank you, man. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Well, in that regard, Thad Miller would come home as the winner of the Toyota class, as he's the first Toyota in the field. Oh, you know what, folks, that was the wrong button. Sometimes we just hit the wrong button here on 3 Wide TV. Let's see if we can bring up the final race results for everyone at home. Hopefully, the overall results here work. Andre, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, hopefully the graphic works all right. Adam Newton with a spin and win. It's going to be 2-4-2, undefeated this season. Justin White going to bring it home at second place. Nathan Estep comes home on the podium. Mitchell Adams' late race mistake on the last stop of the night brings him home fourth. Paul Bilson, he was on his way to the trauma center, but he said, no, I can get back in that car. I can finish this race. And finish he did in fifth place. William Ratcliffe going to finish P6. Thad Miller leading the Toyota camp, at least, in seventh. Joshua Corner in eighth says he didn't take a fast repair on his last stop, interestingly enough. And then Vinny Valvano going to finish ninth place in the 9 car. I believe he qualified ninth as well. So not a bad day when you can finish where you qualified. Mike Tellier is going to round out our top 10. Brent McKee, 3 laps down, probably the most important driver of the race, finishing 11th. Tom Lester going to be P12. Garrett Gleason with some hardware issues rounds out 13th. TJ Elaine is going to park at 103 laps shy in 14th. And Jason Shu, well, he came out, he made 1 lap, but it's a lap in the books, and at least he was here. So that's going to do it for the post-race results. And that should just about do it for us, Peter.
Yeah, of course, next week we go to Gateway, and Gateway or Worldwide Technology Raceway Park or something like that. I don't know what they call it these days. I'm going to have to do a little bit of homework on that one this week, Andre. But nonetheless, good race here tonight. We had like 10 cautions last week, here 3 tonight. Let's hopefully we see that continue to improve as we go throughout the season here in the National Sim Racing Association. It usually does once all these drivers start to realize who they're racing with and who they're racing around. But definitely interesting to see a little bit of choice words coming from some of our podium finishers as well. Fortunately, unable to get an interview with Nathan Eastepe. Said that had family or and unable to partake, but congratulations to Nathan on the top 3 finisher here tonight. Want to give a shout out to series sponsor Harpoon Design as well. They've been up in the top graphic, harpoondesign.com. Go check them out for custom paint schemes here in the iRacing.com simulator. We had a couple of Harpoon designs several seasons ago where we had like the whole field or a good portion of the field all sponsored by them, and they were just rocking awesome paint schemes. Make sure to go check them out if you are an iRacer yourself. Of course, Stay Tuned Sports for sponsoring the league. Go check out their podcast if you're up there in the Northeast and you want to listen to Philadelphia sports, or if you want to hear about other sports that are going on across the country as we move towards baseball playoff season. Got really baseball going on right now, but I know football is just around the corner with some preseason games happening this weekend, I believe. If not this weekend, next weekend. But a lot of fun listening to Jimbo and the podcast. Unfortunately, Jimbo not in tonight's field. Jimbo, hopefully you get to feeling better. And of course, tonight's race sponsor, the Lexi Jackson 135, and their hunt to try and get some donations for a service dog for Lexi. Make sure to check out that link. It will be in the description of the video after this one. So, folks, for myself, Peter Short, Andre Graham Bush, and everyone else in the 3Y TV family, we'll see you same place, same time next week. But for now, we shall see ya!